Hello, my name is Michaela Henley, and today I will be explaining to you what piece of art I think most embodies the style of the 19th century. When most people think of the 19th century, they think of realism and romanticism. Realism in the 19th century portrayed everyday life within art, whereas romanticism and romantics tried to convey emotions and feelings in their artwork. One artist who I think was really able to represent Romanticism in the 19th century was Theodore Gericault. Gericault grew up in France, where he was an art student, and he drew inspiration from artists like Carl Vernet and Peter Paul Rubens. Although Gericault passed in 1824, an event occurred in 1816 that gave him inspiration to create one of his greatest pieces of art, Raft of the Medusa. To kind of summarize the event that inspired Gericault, a ship known as the Medusa sank on its way to Senegal. Unfortunately, there was a limited amount of space on the lifeboats, which meant that 150 passengers were left behind as the captain and higher-ranking officials saved themselves on the lifeboats. After 12 days, 15 survivors were found on a raft with stories of murder and insanity and cannibalism. Shown in Gericault's painting, Raft of the Medusa, are the remaining survivors just as they noticed a rescue boat on the horizon after 12 long days on the raft. We can see the raging waves on the left and the darkening sky. We see a father in despair as he holds his son's body. We see men climbing on top of one another, trying to get a view of the rescue ship and signal for rescue as dead bodies occupy the corners of the raft. Going from right to left, the light and the hope seems to fade from the painting as we freeze upon the man's face, possibly pondering whether continuing life is worth it, whether being saved is worth it after he loses his son and has been tortured for 12 days at sea. Gericault's painting, Raft of the Medusa, took 9 months to complete, and the story behind his process helps explain another reason or another way Gericault embodied the 19th century. Starting by interviewing the passengers who survived the sinking of the Medusa, Gericault aimed to be as accurate as possible in his art. As the 19th century progressed, people became more and more scientific and concerned with proportions, and that shows in Gericault's artwork. After interviewing the survivors, Gericault had a real-life raft built and set into water so that he could accurately portray how the water came onto the raft and how the raft floated. Gericault also made many sketches of his painting and clay model figurines as well. In a last attempt to make his artwork as accurate as possible, so that the true emotions of that day could be portrayed, Gericault studied dead bodies from the morgue. That way he knew the kind of colors to use in his painting. Measuring in at 16 by 23 feet, Raft of the Medusa was a bigger-than-life oil painting. The point of view Gericault uses, having the raft dip down into the viewer's space, helps truly immerse the audience as if to make the emotions felt on the raft even more personal. Gericault's scientific approach and accuracy in his painting, paired with his play on point of view and use of contrasting colors, helps show true emotion, ranging from sorrow to despair to lament to disbelief and even hope. And I think this helps make Raft of the Medusa one of the best examples of Romanticism and 19th century style of art.